Dazzle!
Are we gonna get along just fine? Eh?
If killing you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
In Dota 1, when self-casting Shadow Wave, Dazzle does not count towards the number of bounces. So, at level 4, when self-cast, Shadow Wave will heal 6 units in addition to healing Dazzle himself, for a total of 7 units healed. However, in Dota 2, when self-casting Shadow Wave, Dazzle does count as one of the 6 units healed. At level 4, it would only heal 5 units in addition to healing Dazzle. This is only the case when self-healing. Just like in Dota 1, if you heal an ally, you will still heal 6 units in addition to healing yourself. In Dota 1, Weave does not stack with itself. If 2 instances of Weave are used, they will try to override each other. If you use one Weave, then wait 10 or so seconds, refresh, and use another Weave, you can see that the negative or positive armor will fluctuate between the 2 Weaves. Depending on when an attack lands, it could mean you're dealing damage at negative 16 armor, or say negative 4 armor, depending on which Weave instance was proccing. In addition, when the first Weave's duration is over, the second Weave will prematurely end as well. Now in Dota 2, Weave's armor values stack with itself, but the Weaves are independent of each other. So at level 3, if you have 2 Weaves stacked on an enemy, instead of reducing armor at 1.25 per tick, you're reducing it at 2.50 per tick. Basically, you're gaining double the amount of armor in the same amount of time, if they're used right after another. If they're used further apart, let's say 10 seconds again, then the armor values will still be doubled, but when the first Weave's duration is over, then the armor value is only reflecting the second Weave's ticks, and that Weave will still finish its own separate duration. Weave is not very noticeable in Dota 1. When Weave is initially cast, there's an animation on the ground to mark where it was cast, and a small animation to mark who it was cast on. After 3 seconds, all animations are gone, and there is no way to visually see if a unit is affected unless you look at their armor values. No graphics, no icons, and nothing in their status bar. Weave is very noticeable to both enemies and allies in Dota 2. There's a giant circle to mark the AoE of Weave, and then afterwards, for the whole duration of Weave, all affected units have an armor icon above their heads and an animation around their heroes. In both Dota 1 and Dota 2, illusions are not affected by Weave's armor buff and debuff. However, in Dota 1, it's easy to find the real hero amongst illusions because only the real one will be losing or gaining armor. In Dota 2, even illusions are visually affected by Weave, so the real hero is not easily identified. In Dota 1, Poison Touch cannot be disjointed. The projectile will follow you and eventually hit you. In Dota 2, Poison Touch can be disjointed, dodging all effects of the spell entirely. Shadow Wave's priority order in Dota 1 is pretty simple. It will prioritize healing heroes, then creeps, regardless of whether they are hurt or full life. In Dota 2, Shadow Wave's priority order is a little different. It prioritizes healing hurt allied heroes, then hurt allied non-hero units, which means creeps, illusions, summons, etc. Then allied heroes, then allied non-hero units. In other words, Shadow Wave is a little smarter and won't prioritize healing full life heroes over hurt creeps. And finally, in Dota 1, Shallow Grave will not save a hero if a single damage instance is higher than the graved hero's maximum HP. For example, Laguna is a single instance of damage, and Dazzle only has 454 maximum HP. Since level 3 Laguna deals much more than 454 damage, it will kill him despite Shallow Grave being applied to him. Now in Dota 2, this is no longer the mechanic with Shallow Grave. Even if a single instance of damage is greater than the graved hero's maximum HP, he will not die with Shallow Grave on him. The only things that can kill a unit in Dota 2 through Shallow Grave are Culling Blade and Suicides from Techies and Bloodstone. If you enjoyed the video, then head over to my channel, Proves Reviews, to check out more differences. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month here on Holy Hexer's channel.